We weren't brothers by blood, we were brothers by the road. Met at 3 in the morning when everybody else was home. I pulled into the truck stop with a half-empty tank. There was an old man by the window and a younger guy at the bar. Nobody knew each other, nobody needed names. We'd all been driving through the darkness, carrying different kinds of weight. One had trouble with his trailer, one had trouble with his wife. One was trying to pay the mortgage, one was just trying to survive. We laughed about the bosses, we cursed the price of fuel. Then somebody bought the coffee, and suddenly we were friends. Friends made at the truck stop, brothers for a night, sharing stories in the darkness under buzzing neon lights. Friends made at the truck stop, then the morning comes, we shake hands, start our engines, and disappear one by one. One man showed a photograph of 2 boys beside a lake. He said, "That's my whole damn world." Then he looked away. Another man talked about his father, who never made it past 60. Said, "That's why I keep calling home, even when nobody answers." Nobody laughed at that. We just drank our coffee, 'cause everybody understood. Diesel smoke, cold floor, truck stop, open door, black coffee, cheap food, bad news, still good moods. We don't ask about the money, we don't ask about the scars. We just know a tired man's story when we see it in his eyes. Funny thing about strangers, sometimes they know exactly what you need to hear. The young guy said he hated driving, said he wanted something more. The old man smiled and told him, "Son, I said that too before." He laughed, then he got quiet. Just don't wait too long to figure out what matters. I thought about my daughter waiting somewhere down the road, and suddenly that truck stop didn't feel like home anymore. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, paid my coffee at the counter. The old man shook my hand. "Drive safe, brother," I said. "You too." Then we walked into the night. Friends made at the truck stop, brothers for a night, sharing stories in the darkness under buzzing neon lights. Friends made at the truck stop, then the morning comes, we shake hands, start our engines, and disappear one by one. Maybe I'll never see them again. Maybe that's how the road works. People enter your life for 20 minutes and leave something behind that lasts 20 years. That's the kind of friendship the highway makes. Friends made at the truck stop, brothers for a night. Different roads and different stories, but the same damn lonely life. Friends made at the truck stop when the darkness starts to fade. We carry pieces of each other down every road we take. Friends made at the truck stop, no promises, no names, just a handshake and a warning, don't let the highway take everything. Friends made at the truck stop, then the morning takes us on. One truck heading west, another disappear with the dawn. We were strangers yesterday, brothers tonight, and tomorrow, just another memory on the road. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping, not even me tonight. Could be underneath a motel sign, could be parked beneath a dying light. I left home on a Monday. The load was supposed to take 2 days. Then the boss called from another county and sent me somewhere else again. So I keep changing directions like a man who lost his name. Every road looks temporary, every town looks just the same. Sometimes I sleep in the truck cab with my jacket for a pillow. Sometimes I rent a cheap motel where the television never works. Sometimes I don't sleep at all, I just watch the parking lot, listen to engines cooling down, and wondering what I've lost. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping. Nobody knows where I'll be. Tonight I'm somewhere on the highway. Tomorrow somewhere nobody sees. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping, but everybody knows my name. The man who keeps on driving never stays the same. I know every truck stop bathroom, every diner open late. I know which towns have cheap coffee and which ones make you wait. I got motel keys in my pocket from places I can't recall. 100 temporary addresses and none of them feel like home. My wife asks, where are you tonight? I tell her the town, then I look at the sign and realize I don't know. That's the strangest thing about this life. You can travel everywhere and still have nowhere to sleep. New load, new road, same boots, same clothes. Clock says midnight, but nobody knows. Hotel room, truck cab, coffee going cold. Another town behind me, another story never told. I keep a photograph beside the dashboard light, so even when I don't know where I am, I know what I'm driving toward. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping. Nobody knows where I'll be. Tonight I'm somewhere on the highway. Tomorrow somewhere nobody sees. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping, watch the moon across the water till I finally close my eyes. No motel, no television, no room service, no alarm. Just an old truck, a cold seat, and the highway humming on. Maybe this is what I wanted. Maybe this is what I became. A man with roads beneath his tires and no address beside his name. But there's still one place I call home. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping, but my family knows where I belong. I may disappear into the highway, but I still hear their voices when I drive. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping. Nobody knows how long I'll stay. But every road I travel still points me toward that place. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping. Maybe that's the price I pay for making a living on the highway and giving my nights away. Nobody knows where I'm sleeping, but when the long road finally ends, I'll trade this truck cab for a porch light and stop running from the night. No address, no room number, just somewhere between here and home. Yeah, she poured my whiskey before I asked her name. Said, "You look like trouble, cowboy." I said, "Trouble knows me the same." Red neon through the window, rain beating on the roof. Old jukebox in the corner playing something loud and blue. She wore a black shirt and a silver chain, had eyes that looked like highways and a smile that hid the pain. She looked at my dusty boots, then looked at my tired face. Said, "You boys always come in here like you're running from a place." I said, "Maybe I'm just passing." She said, "Everybody says that too." But then she filled another glass and said, "That road ain't waiting on you." She wasn't flirting, she wasn't trying to save me. She seen too many lonely men turn a bar into a cemetery. She's the girl behind the bar, underneath that red neon star. She knows every cowboy's lie and every trucker's alibi. She's the girl behind the bar, she don't care where you are. She pours a drink, she hears the truth and sends you back into the dark. She asked me about my family, I showed her my phone. She said, "Pretty little girl." I said, "Yeah, she's waiting home." She wiped the counter slowly, then looked me in the eye. Said, "You better call that little girl before another year goes by." I asked her why she worked nights. She said, "Because they pay." Then laughed and poured another drink. Besides, I don't sleep much anyway. Hit wood, glass, hit bar. Everybody thinks they're an outlaw star. One says he's leaving, one says he's free, but every damn one looks tied to me. Cowboy hat, I diesel smoke, cheap whiskey, and another bad joke. She hears it all, she never judges. She knows exactly where the road leads. She said, don't confuse being lonely with being in love. Near the jukebox, started talking way too loud. Said he'd buy her a new life if she'd leave this dying town. She laughed right in his face, said, keep your money, cowboy. I watch men buy themselves a dream, then complain when it gets expensive. The whole bar started laughing, even the cowboy smiled. She had a way of cutting through a man without raising her voice. She's the girl behind the bar, underneath that red neon star. She knows every cowboy's lie and every trucker's alibi. She's the girl behind the bar, she don't care where you are. She pours a drink, she hears the truth, and sends you back into the dark. 2 a.m., rain outside, got another 100 miles to drive. She says, you look dead behind the eyes. I say, that's another working night. She points toward the telephone, says, call your woman before you go. I say, she'll probably be sleeping. She says, then let her know. I call my wife, she answers half asleep. I hear my daughter breathing somewhere in the room. That girl behind the counter turns away and gives me space. For the first time all night, I see something change across her face. She ain't my lover, she ain't my angel. She's just a woman who understands lonely men. And sometimes that's enough. She's the girl behind the bar, underneath that red neon star. She knows every cowboy's lie and every trucker's alibi. She's the girl behind the bar, but she won't become my scar. She pours the drink, she hears the truth, then sends me back toward who I am. She's the girl behind the bar, and I got somewhere else to be. There's a little girl waiting who still believes in me. She's the girl behind the bar, red neon fading in the rain. She said, go home, driver, don't make your family wait. So I left that whiskey sitting, put my boots back on the floor. She smiled and said, drive safe, cowboy. And I walked out through the door. Good night, bartender. Keep the neon burning. "300 miles from home," that's what the sign said tonight. 300 miles ain't nothing until you're too tired to drive. The dashboard said says 215, the highway's black and white. My daughter's picture's on the dash, my wife's waiting on the other side. I can almost smell the coffee, I can almost hear the door. But every mile toward that house feels like 100 more. I've driven farther than this plenty of times, but tonight the road feels different. Home is 300 miles away, but it feels like 3,000 tonight. I've got the road beneath these wheels and her porch light in my mind. Home is 300 miles away, close enough to see, too far to touch. Funny how a place can feel so near and still feel like too much. I passed a town at 3:30, past a diner closing down. A tired waitress waved goodbye as I rolled through that little town. I thought about my wife and all the nights she slept alone. I thought about my little girl wondering when Dad was coming home. I whispered, tonight. I didn't know if I was promising her or myself. 300 miles, one more load, one more night, one more road, fuel gauge low. Eyes getting tired, heart still burning, but the body's wired. You can count every mile when you're trying to get home. You can feel every hour you spend away alone. The hardest part about being a working man is knowing your family understands why you're gone and still wishes you weren't. At 4 I pulled into a station, bought coffee black and strong. The cashier asked where I was headed. I said, home. He said, how far? I said, 300 miles. He looked at me, that's a long way. I said, not really, not anymore. I climbed back inside, started that old engine, and watched the highway open. This time every mile felt lighter. Home is 300 miles away, but it feels like 3,000 tonight. I've got the road beneath these wheels and her porch light in my mind. Home is 300 miles away, close enough to see, too far to touch. Funny how a place can feel so near, still feel like too much. I've spent years chasing miles. Tonight I'm chasing home. There's a difference, and I finally understand it. Home is 300 miles away. Now it's 200, then 100. The road keeps taking pieces of me, but tonight I'm taking myself back. Home is 300 miles away. I can almost see that I'll kiss her goodnight. Home is 300 miles away, and every mile is worth the pain. I don't need another highway, I don't need another name. Home is 300 miles away, but it doesn't feel far anymore, because for the first time in years, I'm driving toward my front door. 300 miles, one home. That's all I need tonight. My wife sleeps alone tonight, while I'm somewhere past the county line. She's got my side of the bed untouched, and I got a picture by the dashboard light. She probably left the hallway light on, like she does when I don't make it home. She knows I won't be there before midnight, still she hates that empty room. I told her this job would be temporary, that I'd save enough and then I'd quit. But temporary turned into years, and every year became another trip. I keep saying there's a reason for every mile I drive away, but reasons don't hold someone at night when there's an empty side of the bed. My wife sleeps alone tonight, while these headlights cut the dark. She's got half of our life beside her, got the other half inside this truck. My wife sleeps alone tonight, and I swear I feel her hand every time I reach across the silence. But there's nothing there but road again. I remember our first little apartment, the rain coming through the roof. We had almost nothing in the kitchen, but we had each other then. She never asked for diamonds, never wanted some rich man's life. She just wanted me beside her when the sun went down at night. Now I got money in the bank and another load to haul. Funny how a man can earn more while slowly losing what he earned it for. Three in the morning at a truck stop, neon buzzing like a tired fly. A waitress asked me if I'm traveling alone. I say, not really, she's on my mind. There's a couple laughing at the counter, a jukebox playing something slow. I could sit down and drink until sunrise, but I know where I really need to go. She doesn't complain when I leave. That's what makes leaving harder. wish I could turn around. Last week she said the house feels different. I asked her what she meant by that. She said it's too quiet when you're gone. Then she quickly changed the subject back. I wanted to tell her I was sorry, but sorry doesn't change a thing. You can't put your marriage in the passenger seat and expect it not to feel the miles. I know the highway pays the bills, I know the truck keeps food on the table, but sometimes I wonder what good money is if I'm never home to spend it with her. So tonight I'm counting every mile like it's something I can buy. Maybe I'll get home before the morning. Maybe she'll still be awake. My wife sleeps alone tonight, but I'm driving toward that door. I spent too many nights on highways, and I don't want to lose her anymore. My wife sleeps alone tonight, with my side of the bed still cold. But if these wheels keep turning, I'll be home before the night grows old. My wife sleeps alone tonight, and that thought keeps me alive. 'Cause every road I've ever taken still leads back to her somehow. Leave the hallway light on, baby. I'm coming home. Yeah. Midnight on the county road, blue lights in my mirror. Nobody out here but the law, and the tide man getting nearer. Yeah, I slowed that old truck down, pulled on to the gravel. Sheriff walked up to the window, hand resting near his badge. Where you coming from? Where you going? What's inside that truck? I said, coming from work, going home. That's about enough. He looked at me like the road itself was evidence, like being awake at midnight was already suspicious. I showed him my license, I showed him my papers, I answered every question while watching those red lights. Midnight long county road, blue lights cutting through the dark. I'm just trying to get home, but they treat every mile like a question mark. Midnight long county road, bed shining in my face. You can stop my truck tonight, but you can't decide my place. Yeah. He asked why I look so tired. I said, because I work nights. He asked why I kept driving. I said, because somebody has to. He didn't answer. That's the part nobody sees. Clock says 2. I stay red. Bills on the dash, family in bed, diesel in the tank, dust on the floor. Boss wants to load, kids want more, not more money, more time, more birthdays, more nights. But the highway keeps calling, and the paycheck keeps talking. So I drive through the darkness while the whole town's sleeping. And then the blue light flashes, and suddenly I'm a threat. Funny how a working man gets judged by where he's at. Yeah. They see a truck, they don't see the man driving it. I met good cops, I met bad ones, I met men with badges who forgot where they came from. I don't hate the law, I hate the assumption that every tire driver must be hiding something. You want the paperwork here, you want the truth here. I'm trying to make a living without disappearing from my family. The sheriff looked at my picture, sitting on the dashboard. My daughter smiling beside a little brother. He stepped back from the window, drive safe, I said, you too. Midnight long county road, blue lights cutting through the dark. I'm just trying to get home, but they treat every mile like a question mark. Midnight long county road, bed shining in my face. You can stop my truck tonight, but you can't decide my place. 2 men, 2 jobs, 2 tired faces. One trying to enforce the law, one trying to get home. Neither one knows what the other carries. Woo! Midnight long county road, blue lights fading in the rain. I put the truck back into gear and disappeared into the lane. Midnight long county road, another stop, another night. I don't need to win an argument, I just need to make it home alive. Midnight long county road, red lights behind me fade. The road keeps moving forward and the night keeps what it takes. Midnight long county road, 1 more mile beneath the stars. I'm not looking for trouble, I'm just trying to get back home. You can stop the truck, you can ask the questions, but when the lights go dark, I'm still heading home. Whiskey on the counter, neon in the rain, lonely women at the tables and tired men hiding pain. I pulled in just before 2 after 6 hours on the road. The sign outside said open, like it knew I needed somewhere to go. There was smoke above the ceiling, blue light across the floor. A woman laughed beside the jukebox while a drunk man slipped by the door. She looked at me and asked, passing through? I said, always. She smiled, then don't get comfortable. Whiskey, neon, and lonely women, everybody's got a story tonight. Men trying to forget their problems, everybody says they ain't staying long. Then somebody turns the music up. The bartender knew my face, though I never knew his name. He poured the drink without asking, like he'd seen this kind of pain. A girl beside me talked about Dallas, another talked about home. One said she had a little boy who hated when she worked alone. I looked at my phone, a picture of my daughter. Suddenly the neon didn't look so bright. Whiskey burns, neon shines, bad decisions, late night minds. One more drink, one more song. Tell yourself you don't belong. The road brings you to places, but nobody knows your name. That's why lonely people like them and lonely drivers look the same. Was trying to escape something. I was no different. The woman from the jukebox sat down across from me. She said, "You look like somebody who's got somewhere to be." I said, "I do." She asked, "Then why are you still here?" I didn't have an answer. She told me her name, then told me not to remember it. Said some people meet at midnight because daylight asked too many questions. I laughed. She didn't. Then she said, "Go home before the bar becomes a place you hide." Whiskey, neon, and lonely women, everybody's got a story tonight. Men trying to forget their problems, women trying to forget their lives. Whiskey, neon, and lonely women, cheap comfort underneath expensive lights. Everybody says they ain't staying long. Then somebody turns the music up. Whiskey didn't fix me, the neon didn't know me, and nobody in that room could take me home. So I paid my tab. Whiskey, neon, and lonely women, I left them underneath the lights. Somebody else would take my chair, somebody else would lose the night. Whiskey, neon, and lonely women still be there. Somebody waiting to see me. Some nights you need a bar, some nights you need to leave it. Tonight, I'm leaving. Dead town open bar, neon burning like a dying star. No church bell, no downtown crowd, just one old sign hanging crooked and loud. Midnight, dust hanging underneath my wheels. Gas station closed, motel boarded, nothing here but broken dreams. Old railroad tracks run through the center, weeds growing where the sidewalks were. A rusted sign says population, but half the letters disappeared. Then I saw that red light burning at the end of Main Street. One old bar with swinging doors and a jukebox underneath. I should have kept these wheels rolling, but the neon caught my eye. Sometimes a man needs one cold drink before he faces another night. Dead town, open bar, one more drink underneath the dying star. Dead town, open bar, everybody here has traveled too far. Dead town, open bar, whiskey talking while the jukebox plays. No one asked where you've been, no one asked how long you'll stay. There's a cowboy at the counter, boots covered in red dust. He says he rode these roads for 20 years before the horses turned to rust. There's a trucker by the window with a scar above his eye. He says he hasn't seen his children since the 4th of July. The girl behind the bar pours another glass for me. She says you look like every driver who's afraid of what he'll see. I laugh and tell her she's mistaken. She says, honey, I've heard that line. Then she points toward the window. Everybody here's running from time. Diesel smoke, whiskey burn, another town, another turn. Blacktop miles, county signs, everybody's got a story they hide. Boots on wood, glass on bar, old men staring at a fading star. Nobody came here looking to stay, we all just stopped along the way. Funny thing about a dead town, the bar is always the busiest place. The cowboy said his ranch was gone, sold after the drought came through. The trucker said his marriage ended because the road took everything too. The bartender kept on pouring like she'd heard those stories every night. She didn't judge a single one of us, she just kept the neon light. I looked around that old room at faces carved by years. Every man had whiskey in his hand, but nobody could drink away the fear. Dead town, open bar, one more drink underneath the dying star. Dead town, open bar, everybody here has traveled too far. Dead town, open bar, whiskey talking while the jukebox plays. No one asked where you've been, no one asked how long you'll stay. Somewhere, got a daughter counting days, got a mother keeping the porch light while I disappear into these highways. I could stay until the sunrise, let the whiskey kill the thought, but every mile I don't drive tonight is another mile I've lost. So I put another dollar down and tell the girl to keep the change. She says you boys always leave eventually. I say, that's why we're here. One last drink, one last song, one last look at a town that's already gone. Then Then I heard my daughter's voice inside my head. Dead town, open bar. One last drink underneath the dying star. Dead town, open bar. I ain't staying where the memories are. Dead town, open bar. Let that jukebox play me one more song. I've got somebody waiting, and I've been away too damn long. Dead town, open bar. Neon fading in the morning sky. Everybody here is running, but tonight I'm gonna drive. Dead town, open bar. Raise that glass and kill the light. Tomorrow I'll be somewhere else, chasing another night. But if you see my old truck rolling past the county line at dawn, don't ask me where I'm going. I'm finally heading home. Dead town, open bar. One more night, then I'm gone. Dirty boots, clean heart, that's all a working man needs. A little road beneath his tires and somebody waiting for him. My boots are full of red dirt, my jacket smells like rain. Diesel smoke inside my clothes and highway dust inside my veins. I haven't seen a clean shirt in 3 damn days or more, but there's a picture of my family hanging by the door. Yeah, I drive through empty counties when everybody's gone to bed. Blue lights on the highway and 1,000 thoughts inside my head. The road don't care how tight I am, the load still has to move. So I keep both hands upon the wheel and do what I was born to do. Dirty boots, clean heart, that's the way I learned to live. The road can take my money, but it can't take what I give. Dirty boots, clean heart, I may come home smelling like smoke, but my family knows the man inside, and that's the part that matters most. I slept beside a truck stop, I've eaten cold food in the rain. I fixed a tire at midnight with nothing but a flashlight beam. I met men with expensive trucks who couldn't look me in the eye. I've met broke men with nothing who would give you their last dime. That's what the road has taught me. Money don't make you strong, it's how you treat somebody when there's nothing coming back. Dust on the boots, dead on the phone, another long night trying to get home. Bills on the dash, kids getting tall, work keeps calling like it owns us all. I don't need a fancy name, I don't need a polished ride. Give me a full tank and my family by my side. I got dirt on my hands, but I don't want dirt on my heart. My son once asked me, "Daddy, why are your boots so dirty?" I laughed and said, "Because they know where I've been." He looked at them and smiled, then he said, "I think they look cool." That little sentence stayed with me through every mile that night. A man can carry heavy burdens when he's got something worth the fight. Dirty boots, clean heart, that's the way I learned to live. The road can take my money, but it can't take what I give. Dirty boots, clean heart, I may come home smelling like smoke, but my family knows a man inside, and that's the part that matters most. The people who still wait, that's enough for me. Dirty boots, clean heart, let the highway take what it can. I've been working through the darkness, trying to stay a decent man. Dirty boots, clean heart, rain and dust upon my coat. When I finally reach that porch, my family knows I'm home. That's the name I'll carry on. The road may wear my body down, but it won't tell me who I've become. Dirty boots, clean heart. One more night, one more road. I keep these wheels turning till I can finally unload. Boots get dirty, hearts don't have to. I drive while the world sleeps, streetlights passing one by one. Everybody's behind closed doors, but my night has just begun. The city fades behind me, the highway opens wide. 100 empty miles ahead, nobody by my side. There's a diner on the corner with the lights turned low. A motel sign keeps blinking, but I've got somewhere to go. My phone lights up the dashboard, a picture of my wife, then my daughter's little smile. That's the closest thing to home tonight. I drive while the world sleeps, while the houses turn out their lights. I carry everybody's morning through the middle of the night. I drive while the world sleeps, with the highway underneath. They wake up to the things I bring, while I disappear beneath the trees. At 2 I cross the county, at 3 I cross the rain. At 4 I start remembering every mile I've driven away. I think about the mortgage, I think about the bills, I think about my little girl, asking when her daddy will be home. I don't know, but I keep driving. Diesel smoke, cold coffee, black top, nobody. One truck, one road, one man, one load. The world is sleeping while the wheels keep turning. You learn to live with loneliness when every mile keeps burning. There's something strange about an empty highway that makes a man hear the thoughts he usually outruns. I passed a little farmhouse with the porch light glowing gold. For half a second I imagined that was my home. Then the highway pulled me forward like it always seems to do. Another town, another load, another night without you. I don't hate this life, I hate what it takes. Every paycheck has a shadow, every mile has a price. I drive while the world sleeps, while the houses turn out their lights. I carry everybody's morning through the middle of the night. I drive while the world sleeps, with the highway underneath. They wake up to the things I bring, while I disappear beneath the trees. Still be awake, maybe that's enough, because somebody has to drive while the world sleeps. I drive while the world sleeps, through the rain and through the cold, carrying 1,000 people's mornings, while my own story waits at home. I drive while the world sleeps, but I know what I'm driving for. Not the highway, not the money, I'm driving toward my front door. I drive while the world sleeps, until the darkness turns to blue. The sun will find me on the highway, but my heart is already home with you. I drive while the world sleeps, let the morning find me tired. Every mile I leave behind is another mile toward the life I desire. The world sleeps, the wheels keep turning, and somewhere ahead, home is waiting.